corny, I guess, that they would go out wearing their brand's T-shirt like it's such a big deal. But that was a bit off-putting for me, because I thought, hang on a minute, we've got the New Day against the Shield, that's enough. But they really wanted to drive home that it's not just the New Day versus the Shield, it's Raw versus SmackDown. And I felt like some of the commentating, especially from Booker, and I mean, there were like 5 different announcers in the entire night that were going in between, but it was quite a shambles in areas, I've got to say. It was probably some of the worst stuff for a big pay-per-view that I've heard in a long time. The match itself, Matt, what did you make of the Shield versus the New Day, the match itself?
Yeah, I didn't mind the match so much itself. I felt like it was a good idea to book it the way that they did. Coming off the pre-show and coming into this, if you want to see 3 top superstars like Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, now's the time to get that $9.99 in, and or your free trial, as they seem to be giving out plenty of these days, and get subscribing. But the match itself, I did enjoy it, but there was something in the back of my mind just feeling like this isn't like the original Shield. It's like the 3 guys in this match have picked up their own individual personalities now and their traits, and it's just hard to sort of mesh them into what the Shield used to be, because it used to be so seamless and everyone was so selfless, and when one was down, the other one would get up and have their back. It just almost felt like you have to have your moment, you have to have your moment, and you have to have your moment, and it was a bit forced in that sense. I felt like the New Day were, like they said, they were much more cohesive, but of course they're gonna be, because they haven't missed a beat all the time they've been together. Just constant teamwork, and it's almost to a point where they would find it harder to be a single unit rather than a team now. But yeah, I would say I'd give it a good enough rating though. The match, I mean, it's a solid start.
Yeah, I mean, chemistry-wise, listen, I go with the New Day easily over the Shield. I just think they have that chemistry, but it's probably because they've been like a tag team act for so long, whereas I think the Shield, they always, even when they were united together, most of the time it was sort of like, they were very much individual. Like, Dean Ambrose was like was he the US champion for them, like in the first spin, or the Intercontinental? I'm sure he had one of the belts.
Yeah. US champion, and he held it for quite a substantial amount of time.
Yeah, didn't really defend an awful lot, but whereas I feel the New Day, the chemistry between those guys is so much more there. Whereas, but the funny thing is, it's almost like with the Shield, because they haven't got like a top act to go against. It's like all 3 of those guys. Well, I'd say more that. Because Roman, set up, he's got something for WrestleMania, so I don't have to really worry about him. But I feel like Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, they've gone backwards, but not only have they reunited, but they've reunited in like the division they were striving to get out of and become individual stars to themselves. I feel like it's kind of somewhat damaging from somebody who's maybe a new audience member looking at these guys, because here we had at one point all of these guys, separately have won the world titles at some point. But, I mean, it's unrecognisable during some of this, and the way they sort of presented themselves. Very much around Roman Reigns, I would say, for the bulk of it in the Shield. Matt, I still felt like he was getting the best moments in, I think, out of everybody. The reaction for Roman, not too bad tonight. I've got to say, there were moments where he was completely booed, but then in other moments I felt, because the one thing I was really thinking, I was like, come on, hurry up, stop taking so much time, because as soon as he does that, that's when fans start to turn on him. But I felt, to be honest, they weren't that bad with him tonight, like considering how many of those things he did, that whole groaning business. I felt like the fans weren't too bad. What was your feelings on the fans' reaction tonight for Roman?
Yeah, at first they still, when he was tagging in, he was getting the boos, and he did still get the "you still suck" chant. But I think he does a good job of playing it off these days, just like, oh, you guys, say what you want. Mm-hmm. But then they say that, and then later on in the match, he spears into the pin almost, doesn't he? Like knocking it over. Yeah. And then straight away after he does that, the fans start up a "This is awesome" chant. Yeah. So I'm guessing he had something to play into that. So it's becoming more of a term of endearment now when they're booing him. I'm seeing it as.
Yeah, totally. Well, the Shield end up winning from a super triple power bomb, and the match went 21 minutes 30 seconds. And I think what we're going to do now, Matt, I've decided on our reviews rather than giving the stars, because it's so difficult to give the stars. When I went back on some of our old Wrestling Skull podcast reviews, it was when I went through them, it's sometimes inconsistent. So I think nowadays I'm just going to give it a yay or a nay for some of these. And I think for a kickoff show, this is a yay for me, because it wasn't, again, if this was maybe positioned differently on the card, I'd maybe want a little bit more from the booking. But I felt like for a kickoff show, for what it was, I thought this gets a pass for me. There were moments in it which were a little bit, I didn't enjoy. I thought there was a little bit awkwardness between these guys. But I think that's because, again, the Shield are reunited, and most of those guys are been sort of individual stars for a little while now, and you have to be. There's so much protection done for Roman, I feel, but I think I liked the bits between Roman and Big E. I felt that was good. They sold well for him, like they didn't just put the Shield over, and I did think it made New Day look good. Let me ask you this question before you give it a yay or a nay, Matt. But do you think the right team won here? Because I've got to be honest, going into this, I thought, you know what, they might just give this to the New Day, but they didn't. They went with the Shield. I don't know if I'm that surprised or not. I wasn't shocked by it, but I was kind of looking on the New Day on this one. I don't know why. As I was watching it, I thought, I could see WWE giving New Day something here to come off of, because I don't know how long the Shield are actually going to be together, so do they really need it? But they went with the New Day. Your thoughts on whether they picked the right winner here, Matt?
Yeah, I think they did it the clever way. They did sow that seed of doubt into people's minds where you could believe that the New Day would walk out the winners.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you think of, like, did they make the right decision? Because the New Day, like they say, have been a unit for so long already, and there doesn't seem to be an end to them. So you think they could be kind of the new kind of dominant trio. I mean, they've been doing a good enough job of it as it has been. But the Shield, come back in and just take that mantle up straight away, just because they come in as free individual, heavyweight champions.
Sure.
But I do think, you gave it to the right winners in the end, because I'm hoping there's some sort of payoff down the line. That 3 top guys can come against them, more on equal terms to them, that maybe 3 individual heavyweight champions, if you put along the lines of like a Randy Orton or a John Cena in some sort of group of 3 to face them, then I can understand that, because then that can be booked as a super kind of match. Probably won't end up being at WrestleMania. I'm sure they'll have their own plans by then, which is kind of what the New Day was hinting towards in the promo before this. They would split before WrestleMania. So it'll be interesting to find out whether they do.
Sure, I'm with you there. Yay or a nay for you on this one, Matt? I'm guessing it's a yay.
Oh yeah, definite thumbs up for this.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good start to the show. Got things off to a good start, I'd say.
Cool. Okay, we get this segment backstage. This was a bit hokey, to be honest with you. This Stephanie pep talk almost to the Raw women. I was like, oh my god, there's Oscar standing there listening to this. I'm like, why are all these characters together? It just seems so weird, and they all care about Raw now, and they're really up for it, because of Stephanie giving them this. And again, this brings us to the next match of the night, which was the Raw versus SmackDown women's match, Survivor Series style. And Matt, let me hear from your thoughts on this one. What did you make of the match? What did you make of the story they were trying to tell here? And because going into this, after seeing that, I was like, I'm not sure if I'm buying this. But what did you make of it?
Like you said about that pep talk, I found it kind of hard to understand whether there was deeper meanings behind it. saying to people like Bailey, go out there and show me what you've got, only for her to have a paw running out in that match. Like, will she have some sort of punishment for that further down the line? Who knows? But I think with the match, I was looking forward to this. I felt like two kind of teams that were almost on an equal level. I mean, I know there was the undefeated and unsubmitted and unpinned Asuka in the team, so that kind of gave me a hint which way they were going with this. But they've always had situations like that where they'll work around with a count out or disqualification, so there was always that kind of doubt towards that in my mind. But yeah, I was looking forward to this, and I felt like they did do a good job of keeping it interesting, at least, with people like Becky being like taken out of the match just so earlier on. I'm not too sure what good that does her image, being the captain and then just taken out. But yeah, I enjoyed it overall, I would say.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I just, at points in it, the structure was a little bit confusing. And again, everyone was wearing their tops, so that all the fans definitely knew who was who. Like, we really give a damn. But I mean, it's one of those things. I'm trying to think back to last year's. I actually enjoyed the women's Survivor Series match, but I felt like that was a lot different class to where we were at on this one. I feel like this was a little bit of a step back, if I'm honest, for the females here. But relatively speaking, it gets a pass from me. I give this one a yes because, again, you can't have just. I think, when you come to these pay-per-views now, I know everybody expects everything to be perfect, but let's face it, you're not going to get perfection, and you have to have matches that are supporting, they're almost like the supporting cast to the bigger matches of the night, and you can't expect every match to be 5-star gold, sort of, really thought out stuff, because again, you got to get to the next place. So with this one, I felt like it gets a pass for me. I think they did. The only bit I was a little bit bitter about, Matt, was the fact that Becky Lynch got eliminated first. I was like, man, they never seem to give that girl a bit of a break. She's so good, she's so talented, but she seems to get like I was kind of really looking towards like, oh, it'd be good if we get Asuka and Becky in there at some point, but it was. Yeah, it wasn't where I was trying to go, but I guess they're trying to save that one up. But that sort of like got my nerves a little bit. Just those little pair offs that they could have had. But again, Asuka I felt got to shine in this a little bit, which is what she needs. She's fresh. So this match just under 19 minutes. Matt, for you, I guess, is this getting a pass for you, this one?
Yeah, definitely does. Like you said, it did what it needed to do. At the end of the day, it did come down to showing off, what kind of dominant force Asuka is and what kind of role she will play in the future to come. And that she will be the woman to beat in the end. I did like that in that case, and it's a moment that will be remembered. I'm sure they'll be doing Raw replays like down the line, years down the line, saying this is Asuka's first Survivor Series.
Yeah, totally. Okay, then we get another sort of backstage segment. Stephanie's hogging all this, and her and Daniel Bryan are like argued who was going to win the men's Raw matchup, and they're 2-0 up already. Like at this point, Matt, I really, when they showed that score thing, because they kept doing that through the night, I was like, I really don't care. Stop showing me it. It's just making things more like planned to how I know it's going to go in the next matches, because I was thinking 2-0 up. Well, it ain't going to last long, is it? They're not going to just have some team winning it 6 or whatever, 0 or whatever. So, I wish they really hadn't have focused on that too much. I think it's one of those things, Matt, like, when they said it was going to be Raw versus SmackDown, I think it would have worked a little bit better if they'd have just been one match, whereas Raw versus SmackDown, because then you might actually you could say, if you really build a whole story around 5 guys, and especially if they were teams like the Shield and say 2 individual guys from Raw, like Braun Strowman or something just had to get along, and then you've got like the SmackDown side of things with the New Day, who are already an established team, and, you know, two individual guys like Cena and, you know, someone else from their side like Orton. That I could have bought just one match where I really do care about it, you know, their top guys and their teams and all the rest of it. But I think through the whole night to have Raw versus SmackDown, it was just like, I really don't care, because it's going to go nowhere after anyway. So, you know, the whole thing was a little bit